Oh my god, these are all through Groove?
Yeah.
That's like a whole hour's worth of questions.
Dang, guys.
Is that like a
Miss a
thing
week.
now? And that's like, we're getting a lot of those now?
There was like one customer specifically that emailed me and was like, I have a question for the live chat. And all of this.
Well, now let's
Maybe one guy.
let's color code the Groove stuff, so we can also get the guys that are submitting live too. We'll try and get to the Groove stuff when we can.
Well, cool. Welcome to the 034 Motorsport live chats. What episode are we on?
169.
Spicy. 69. Perfect for our spicy meme campaign. Well, welcome. We're here to answer all your questions on all things 034 Motorsport. Anything else you'd like to ask? We're always open to virtually any question. Please don't ask a lot of questions about updates on when things are going to be done. We really don't need to be talking about things that we can't answer accurately. We take a no BS approach to responding to questions. I like to cut right to the chase, to the heart of the matter, to the truth. And I usually like to say what I think, so that's pretty much what you're going to hear. We missed last week, so sorry about that. It was the holiday weekend and holiday week, but had a great Thanksgiving break and looking forward to being back here today. If you didn't know, our Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday. What else do we got now? Was there?
Cyber.
I don't think yesterday was called anything.
It was like Cyber Weekend.
Dave Big Sunday. I don't know. But our sale runs through all of it. Our pricing's the same. We don't play any tricks with our prices. We don't raise them right before the sale and then lower them. Did you see the video of Target?
The sliding the price tags out?
And it's real.
I saw that this morning.
And I went on Target.com and confirmed it, that the prices are the same. They just say that they're Black Friday prices. Mm-hmm. So we don't do that. We're actually giving real discounts.
Yep.
And 10% off site-wide for all 034 products, up to 50% off clearance items. Anything else special going on, you guys?
No.
Yeah.
So everything.
Yeah, pretty straightforward sale. Great time to buy, and it's been a record sale for us. Yeah, I'll just say it's been busy. We've got a lot of orders.
Yeah, you guys been holding up and waiting for the sale apparently because we're getting hit hard.
I just looked at our backlog. It's the size of a budget for some small countries.
Yeah, and
that's pretty insane. It's like the biggest of them.
And keep that in mind too. Is we're getting hammered, so we're trying to get to everybody and get all the stuff out the door as quick as we can.
But we're still shipping, 2 to 3 days. If it's in stock, it will ship. We're really good at shipping things that are in stock. It's the out of stock stuff that
hard to ship that.
Yeah, well, you'd think. All right, so we already have a lot of questions. We're going to jump in. Any news for the DSG TCU on the GTI and R 22 and up?
So the first question is the status update. We are working on it.
We're working on it.
There's still no one in the industry.
This question's been blowing up like crazy.
Which one?
On Facebook. The DSG TCU.
Well, everybody wants it.
Everybody wants it, yeah. No,
because
we do too. We're working on it.
But I mean, and keep in mind, like a month ago, somebody on Facebook was saying they had it and they were able to do stuff.
And then
it's not true.
Got real quiet real quick. So
never got approved.
Yeah. And so then it makes, everybody was hammering us like, when are you going to have it? So-and-so has it. And we're like, hold on. I'm not quite so sure about that. And didn't end up being true. So,
if it was something that is, again, you can maybe figure out how to flash one controller, but being able to distribute that and make it usable is a whole other thing.
At their facility.
Right.
And I'll just say, I won't mention their name, but I didn't know who they were before that, and now I do. And so they got a bunch of attention.
There was certainly purpose to it.
Which is very, very, very 2023. Does the RCO lower control arm have anti-dive, anti-lift at all with the caster adjustment, and would some spacers help with that? You can't fix all that in just the lower control arm, right? It's also related to
It's your pivot points and the where it actually rotates at the subframe level for a lot of that anti-dive and lift geometry changes.
And I think some other companies oversell the fact that they do that stuff.
Yeah, because those hard points on the car, unless they're moving those hard points and really relocating the pivot points, you're not going to get that kind of effect out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Like there's some insanely small, virtually useless optimization supposedly for anti-dive or whatever, but so then they say it, but in practice, is your car going to have less dive? No. The main purpose of our arms is to provide stiffer rubber bushings on the inside and allow an increase in caster and also increase in camber. Those are kind of the three purposes. Our arm is also forged aluminum, so it can be lighter than the steel version. But that's it. Any plans for the CREC A6 dual pulley, full E85 like Q7?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
That's on the board.
Will Mark 6 platform get the gauges anytime soon?
I was actually just talking with our developer about that this morning. We are working on that. The Mark 6 is kind of an obnoxious platform. It doesn't have. It was before.
Hey, the Mark 6 users are
the platform.
The platform. God, okay, sorry. I thought you said something.
It doesn't have any of the. So as things have progressed with the vehicles, things have been getting more and more standardized. All of everything after Mark 6, starting with Mark 7, and Volkswagen uses what's called UDS, Universal Diagnostic. I think it's Universal Diagnostic Services. So you've got a much more standard set of identifiers and communication stuff between the various models in a given under a given make. None of that exists with the Mark 6, so it's a bunch of old. If you're looking if you're used to Rostec, you get these like gauge blocks and these measuring blocks and stuff. So it's a much older format of data acquisition, which means we either need to patch all of them with our own logging stuff, which we do for a number of ECUs. But the Mark 6 is kind of a mess to do all that with. So we will have more of that coming soon, but that is more work than all of the other platforms combined to get all that stuff up and running. So
so we can't say when it'll be available, but it's certainly something we want to provide.
Yeah, it's certainly on our list. We're actually working on a bunch of stuff right now to kind of automate a lot of that for all of our platforms. So yeah, it's coming. More and more is coming.
Is TTE810 ball bearing or journal? It's the same as the factory turbo, which is the center bearing. Yeah, so the only difference is the compressor wheel and turbine wheel are increased. It's a different shaft. I don't know if they make the shaft bigger. They may space up the journal bearing size to have a bigger shaft to support the bigger. I'm not sure about that.
I wanted to confirm. It looks like they do. It's still thrust bearing, but they do replace the bearing. So they go to a larger shaft.
Yeah, so they do a larger shaft and bearing. And then they machine the turbine housing and the compressor housing to accommodate the bigger wheels.
I don't know. I'd have to look and see.
But anyways, it's a great fast spooling turbo with great modern journal bearing performance.
I can't think of any issues we've had with any of those.
No, the failures and stuff have been essentially zero. It's very good.
I think we had one that was tight out of the box, but it's in there and running.
Compared to the number of turbos we've sold, compared to the issues we used to have with Garrett turbos and stuff,
or even the early MQB turbos,
those were
just falling apart left, right, and sideways.
B9 S5 TTE810. Approximately 2,000 miles since going to stage 3 at ZTF. Changed PCV valve at the same time. Approximately 1,500 miles since going to ethanol. Blue-white smoke under moderate load, but no smoke under wide open throttle. Also, oil cap frequently comes off with aggressive driving. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, it sounds like your PCV is tough.
Yeah, it sounds like having PCV issues.
You would have gone that quickly. We've got cars here with way more action than that on them, but don't keep hammering on it if that's the case. We need to get that looked at, sort of.
I mean, the biggest issue with the factory PCV is it's designed for stock boost levels.
Yes. Yeah.
So you could blow it out pretty fast.
I mean, but
just overpressurizing.
Agreed. We obviously get a lot more out of that.
But yeah,
cars. So I'm not sure
that is
that. Maybe it's just a bad.
That is low mileage. They usually last a little longer than that. B9.5 S4 recently ordered the S34 intake and noticed that the instructions list the coupler support bracket is optional. Can you talk a little about why you would not use the support bracket? Yeah, so we originally designed all of our S34 intakes with a support bracket, and we still do. They're not easy to install. They're hard to kind of get in there and align everything with the bracket. Once you do, and you do it right, the support bracket supports the air filter assembly. And so when the engine moves, the air filter doesn't like pull on the shroud, right? So the idea with the support bracket is the bracket supports the filter, not the carbon shroud. The carbon shroud is not designed to be a support system. It's designed to shield and insulate the intake from engine compartment heat. What we found, though, over time is we found that the intakes do perform well without the bracket because we were having complaints. We ran our own internal engineering testing on intakes here on company vehicles without support brackets, and we found that over long periods of time, everything held up and performed well, and the support shield was able to support the air filter assembly. So we made it optional so that people don't struggle with the installation. If you are installing it, I would recommend trying to make the support bracket work. If you want the best installation that will last the longest, that will have the most, least amount of wear, it's the best support. I think one thing that's always been important for me with our intakes, going back to, I don't know what the Stratosphere intake, and then CTS knocked it off, and everyone knocked. They're just cheap, flimsy intakes. You can kind of go in there and grab it, and just everything's flopping around. The early Stratosphere, USP Motorsports copied it too. It was known to just wear through the fuel line and cause a fuel leak, and you can burn your car down because the intake's moving around like a saw. So I always want our intakes to be solid when you grab them, and they move, but they don't shake or flop around. So that's the idea behind the bracket. They're still stable without the bracket, much more so than, say, the Stratosphere intake and all the knockoff variants that I'm referring to. But that's a little bit. You can totally make it work without. But I recommend spending a little bit of extra time if you have the patience and skill to make it fit. B9 S5 dongle connected to phone twice and now won't connect anymore. I have not emailed about it yet. Also, is there any thought of including a low profile OBD extender to prevent kicking dongle?
You can get the First off, you can get the extenders all over the place. It's just a generic. Yeah, Amazon's littered with just extenders and stuff for that. So no, we didn't.
I get emails about extenders all the time.
Yeah, they're out there. As far as not connecting to the phone, the only time I've seen that thus far has been when someone went into the Bluetooth profile settings and tried to pair up manually and do it outside of the app. So maybe, I don't know what phone you're on. This was on an Android that we saw this before. Check your Bluetooth devices, I guess, and if you see the cable is in there, just do the forget and get it out of there, because there's no pairing process that needs to work. So we saw a couple of phones get it into a weird state where people try to do it manually. That's my guess there. And if that doesn't work, yes, certainly hit up Tuning Yacht. Try and get it, but we need more information. What phone, what operating system and stuff you're on.
Yeah. What's the on the girl from your Friday meeting? So if you're on our Instagram or Facebook, you may have seen on Black Friday we posted a meme of a beautiful nude woman using a computer, in which on the screen was our website, and also a laptop with Nate and I doing a live chat. And So I wanted to do something kind of fun and spicy to get some attention. Over the years, I've never used sex to sell 034 Motorsport, and that's really, nudity is provocative, and the woman in it looks beautiful and attractive. But I remember when this was like the early days of the internet. I think it was like Road and Track or Car and Driver. In the back, it was like, we have the internet now, and there was like a company that had a e-commerce website. It was probably like late 2010s, and they had an ad in the back that basically was something to the extent of, you can shop at home naked, and there was a nude woman using a computer, and I had scoured Google trying to find that ad.
I
really couldn't find it. I've talked to a number of people about it. Nobody, I seem to be the only one that remember it. So the idea with Black Friday is so crazy, and you could go stand in line or go to Best Buy, or basically be in a riot. And so the idea is, stay at home in the comfort of your own home with your friends and family, and shop online. So an extended version of that is, not only can you stay at home, you could be naked. You could shop naked. And so that's what the ad says.
What more convenience do you need?
It's the image of her at the top, and we put shop naked.
Yeah. I mean, you could use your phone now. You could flash naked too. I mean, you could do all kinds of.
People did mention that. Yeah, that there was a
nude subtext.
Yes. So the backstory is that she doesn't have an at. It's my girlfriend / partner, and she's gorgeous. She's beautiful, and I snapped this picture of her one day while she was sitting at her desk, and then I got to thinking about how to use it to make money, and she graciously agreed to let me use the photo, and so that's where that came from, and that is her. But she has a Facebook account that she never uses. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see me post about her all the time. I tag her. She has a Facebook account just so she can go on Facebook and pretty much see what I post. I think she has 2 or 3 friends. Probably the only nude picture you'll ever see of her in your life. She's very successful, smart, and talented. She has a PhD. So, but now she's a advertising icon as well. So I told her you can add that to your list of accomplishments. So anyways, I had fun with it. I think 2 people said it was cringy. Listen, I'm sorry. Sorry you thought that. I'm not sure what was cringy about it. It's
I don't know what. Yeah,
I mean, there was even, you could tell she's naked, but there was no actual.
There was nothing that you wouldn't see.
HR didn't even call me, so I consider that a success.
You've had their number blocked for a while.
Yes, that's true. I stopped listening. Cool. All right. No, but we had fun with it. It was pretty viral for us and for, I would say, our little segment.
Yeah, it's definitely outside of our wheelhouse or norm.
It had tons of shares, lots of comments, lots of likes, and our sales did spike pretty hard right after. So
people realized they could shop naked. It's like,
I was naked, but I didn't know I could buy anything right now. So yeah, it was very helpful. It's really a community service. It's just we're here to perform. Yep. Can my SQ5 run mid-low 10s healthy? If yes, what do I need?
We've got mid-low 10s. That's cooking in an SQ5. So you're going to have everything kind of tip top. But we've certainly got guys out there doing that with the 810 kit on it.
And healthily and safely.
Yeah. Like they're out there trying to push the platform.
But here's the deal with drag racing, and I think this is a lot of people. This is lost on a lot of people because they just don't know, or they're kind of new to drag racing. If you take a stock Audi and you give it to us, and we can flash it with the most powerful tune that we have, and let's say stock it runs 12.5. The best tuning that we can put on it, maybe you could get down to an 11.0. So in the realm of tuning, we can reduce your elapsed time by about 1.5 seconds. Now, you go online and you see some guy with the same car with the same tune is running 10.5. Well, how do you get from 11 to 10.5? Well, you can call us and we're going to tell you you're going to need stickier tires, you're going to need to play with your air pressure, you're going to need to remove weight from the car, you're going to have a really sticky surface, you're going to have a very good DA. And all these other factors are required to run fast ETs. What we can do with tuning is help you run a certain trap speed. But getting out of the hole, getting off the line, is only influenced so much by tuning. And then you're talking about grip, weight, rotational inertia.
Not even necessarily having to remove weight, but or whatnot, but the variance between cars. You'll have hundreds of pounds of difference between the same model of car with different trims, packages, options, wheels, brakes. Like it's not insignificant amount of both rotational and just vehicle mass, just stock to stock between two what look like fairly similar cars. So it's a difficult thing to.
Yeah, but I just want to point out, if you want to run 10s, your car isn't going to necessarily be any less reliable from a tuning standpoint than a car that runs 11s. It's all these other chassis specific things that you're going to have to do to get it there. Which is sort of funny about the kind of tuner wars where we're always trying to beat each other and get the fastest ET. The reality is if our competitor wants to put lighter wheels, wrinkle slicks, gut the car, they're going to be able to run a faster time than any time we could hope to run with a stock street prepped car. So
and we've never done people do undersized brakes or these tiny little drag racing rotors and caliper setups.
We do easy to do
15-inch wheels and
basic lightning, like removing some interior parts, removing seats. But we don't. For us, we want to show you how fast they can go, but if you want to build a drag car, that's not the business we're in. Could you build a drag car with our tuning? Absolutely, but we're not here to help people gut their cars or put tiny little brake rotors that can't be used on the street, things like that. When are the Black Friday deals done? Can I use my ACNA discount on top of it? The sale ends Monday, December 11th, so we have some time. But our inventory is taking a beating, so if you see something that's in stock and you want it, the sooner you buy it, the better. The other thing is we do work on a first come, first serve basis. So even if it's out of stock, if you place an order now, you will be in line in front of people who place orders on December 11th. And that could mean the difference between it shipping in a few weeks and a few months. And then, our Black Friday sale cannot be combined with any other discount. So we deactivate discount codes during the sale. We can't afford to run the business and give really deep discounts like that. We're in it for the long run, and we want to keep bringing great products to the market for you guys and being here to support them. B9 S4, my S34 intake, and SuperDuper inlet are incredible. Thanks for making such a perfect product. Oh, so glad you think so. We're really proud of that product. We put a lot of time into it. We're thrilled to finally get it out. Why isn't the SuperDuper throttle body for stage 2 and only 2+ on the B8 S4?
That's what most of the market is. When they're getting to that point, that's the next step up. There's no reason. Technically, you couldn't just run it with a stage 2 pulley ratio.
You could.
Yeah, you could totally do that. The only thing you'll lose is a little bit of throttle resolution at the very end of the pedal, just because we have a wider, torque request essentially.
Yeah.
But it'll still work.
Yeah, you can do it, but it's designed to be used on 2+, and the programming, everything reflects that.
It's just a pulley ratio difference there.
I don't know where things are at with gift cards. Do you guys know?
On the site.
No,
Can you
it's always been a little bit finicky when people try to use gift card.
No, I know, but I want to try to answer the question.
Yeah, somebody's asking if it's fixed either.
You could ask Jeff or something. what are your guys' thoughts on running an icebox setup for 3.0 T supercharged to help with cooling on the 3.5 to 0.45 pulley ratios? Most of that setup get a lot of good low end, but top end dies down.
I mean, yeah, you're spinning that charger really quick. It's not necessarily just air temps that are the factor there. That's just the parasitics in the supercharger alone will account for a lot of that, and it's just way outside the supercharger's efficiency range. So that's why that power band is just shifting, or your torque bump is shifting down and down and down. The higher you go up with pulleys, is that efficiency speed, the supercharger speed, that happens lower and lower, and then it's just a very much a diminishing return up top. So it's not just air temps. Air temps will help for sure if you can get it reduced.
Yeah, if you want to go through the effort to put in an ice box, it will definitely help.
It's not. I wouldn't expect it to be like to fix all of the issues. It's also just a raw like supercharger RPM issue.
What intake do you have on the table? So this is our X34 SQ5 suction bundle, which comes with the X34 intake box, carbon fiber connector tube with a silicone coupler that connects to the factory inlet or factory sized inlet like our cast aluminum B9 turbo inlet. And then this is the fresh air shroud, and that's that goes in here like this. The intake sits in front like that.
It's a terrible sound.
And this, you see, is where the air goes in. It's all carbon fiber construction. Very beautiful piece. The airbox interfaces with factory mounting grommets. On sale right now. $969 for the intake, or $1035 for the full in suction bundle. All right, so yeah, that's what we have here. And how are we doing on stock on these? Do we know?
They're in stock ready to ship.
Yep, in stock, ready to ship. 10% off during the sale. Someone's asking about gift cards on the site. We are still, there's some internet computer issue. I see them going through, but I don't know if I think they might have to be manually done. But if you have a question about any gift cards that you have, please email contact@034motorsport.com, and we will make sure you can apply that gift card as store credit on the site. And once we convert that to store credit on the site, then you can just use it. Let's see. B9 S4 TCU Stage 2, you advertise things like more firm shifts and readed feedback from users, crisper shifts. Stage 2 will have more noticeable shifts. What I missed from DSG was how shifts were not noticeable, just instant. Stage 2 will make less smooth shifts than Stage 1, ? Despite faster shifts, I see contradictory reviews, but none like other competition company users saying it shifts like DSG.
I can't speak to what other companies are advertising. It's not a DSG, so it's not going to be quite the same. And there's just physical differences in the transmission. It's not like you can choose to switch change gears like a DSG. But yeah, it is very quick on the Stage 2 file, especially compared to Stage 1. So yeah, I guess that's a. I'm not quite sure what question you're asking here, but
it sounds like he's focusing on kind of the qualitative attributes about the shift.
Yeah, it is certainly more DSG-like. I will certainly grant it that.
The goal, though, isn't to make the shifts feel a certain way. So, how people feel or interpret the feeling on the shifts is a byproduct of the goal of the shifts being faster. So, Stage 2 will provide faster shifts that can hold more power and torque.
And much more optimized shift points as well.
And optimized shift points. So, we obviously want the shifts to feel suitable, acceptable.
Yeah.
But again, it's a form follows function. Like the way the shifts feel is a direct result of how to get the fastest shift at the right shift point, holding the amount of torque that's needed for the given application. So I think what you were talking about would be considered hyperbole, and it's certainly valid to try to explain the way the shifts feel, but that's not the goal.
Really mushy feeling DSG shifts too, so it's not a be all end all of qualitative measurement, or quantitative, or whatever tative you want to give it.
Why should people go for a 034 tune compared to a much cheaper and better tune at so and so? I'm not going to say their name.
Yeah, we're into the quantitative versus qualitative stuff.
Okay. Again. Well, this is a bullshit question, because while they may be, other tunes on the market may be cheaper, they're not better. And I don't know what is supposedly better, but yeah, that's not the case. I believe
this is referencing B8 stuff in general.
It is just B8 tuning. Yeah. We've released our B8 Stage 1 tuning 10 years ago.
I think nearly. Yeah, we got to be getting close to that.
Yeah, and we quickly broke the Stage 1, drag racing record with a full weight street car. We revolutionized B8's tuning about 10 years ago when we released our tuning. And so we've been working, developing, and improving it ever since. So when you buy a tune from us, you are buying on 10 years of development engineering. And not only that, but the company who has unlocked and created the level of performance that even a competitor could even consider is what we've brought to the table. We still have the fastest times. We have a mobile app that actually works, and I think most people are saying is the best mobile app in this market. We have things like advanced launch control for that application, lots of features. The one thing that we have been working on, that we've been talking about, is updating our AMAX shifting on the TCU tunes.
For the DL501 stuff.
For the DL501.
That's the B8.5 DSG.
And we are full development on that right now. And
we have been since we started. We've talked about this, I think, almost every week.
But we should be ready to release something very soon that will be much better than anything that's on the market. It will be properly engineered here at 034 Motorsport, and it will address the AMAX concern.
Right. It was just we talked about this before. It's just a consistency thing we wanted to bring. Everyone having a consistent experience across the board, and we'd have 100, 200 people with no issues at all, and then you get one guy that's got an issue when he's in AMAX mode, particularly on the 1-2 shift. So we made the decision to make it consistent and safe and reliable. Chances are good. Whoever else out there is doing AMAX shifting probably hasn't hit that 201st customer that's hammering on their AMAX.
We're also nowhere done supporting the platform. We are working on Merc Racing Stage 3 supercharger tunes. We are working on advanced features like flex fuel and on the fly map switching. And so we will keep bringing innovation to the B8 platform. We're marginally more expensive. It's not that much more. I think they advertise some kind of cheap prices, but once you get in there, and we have a full team of customer service and tuning support. I believe our tuning support team is bigger than that other entire company.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that's like people keep bagging on support because supposedly they can't call us. Like that's a magic solution support.
Well, they can't just pick up the phone and call.
Yeah,
right. They can make a phone appointment and we can speak to them if they want.
It has not been all roses from the company in question either, from a support standpoint. From common customers we have as well. But
I think what we find, and I've been seeing this, for 20 years since I started this company, is you see new companies come in, and it's like the honeymoon period. It's kind of like when you're in a relationship with someone in the first 6 months, like they can do no wrong. Their farts smell like roses, and so what we're seeing is people having bad experiences, but not talking about it publicly because of the honeymoon period, and they're these new companies are viewed as the underdog, and they're trying really hard, and they're
it's always
living the American dream.
Yeah, the for the community which obviously we are here. We're all enthusiasts. I drive my B8 S4 still my daily.
We've been serving this community for 20 years, so we care about we have a proven track record.
We haven't dropped support on any of that.
But when I started 034, it was pretty much in the honeymoon period lasted from about 2003 till about 2005, and Nate was there when the honeymoon period ended, and we became the big bad corporate.
Yeah, somehow we're now the big mean guys in the room that are just trying to
all we care about is
grab and dash, I guess, or whatever you think it is. But no, we've got the largest supports team, the most trusted offerings out there. We've delivered on everything we've said we're going to deliver,
and the most proven track record, of anyone in this industry. Even APR, who used to be kind of the big, company in this industry,
a shell of its former self.
Yeah, so we're not going anywhere. We're continuing to sell and support. We have sold a ton of BA tuning. We continue to. We are flashing. I'm not going to say numbers, but a tremendous number of B8s every month. So, we're here, and there's a lot of good reasons to stick with the company that has a proven track record of support, that has a great future of support. So, yeah. And the other tunes are not better. It's just not true.
Yeah, there's been zero real data or anything I've ever
seen
that indicates a betterness.
It's the honeymoon period effect for sure. Why is the website unavailable for customers in Germany? Started around a week and a half ago.
That's a new one.
The website is available in Germany. We did have our website got overloaded a week ago, 7 days ago, for like an hour or two. When we first started the sale, that was corrected almost immediately. So I'd like to know why someone thinks this.
Certainly email us if it's somehow still unavailable. We can connect from various points around the world, through VPNs and such to validate that.
Clear your cookies.
I don't know. Yeah.
If you're still having an issue connecting, clear your cookies. But other than that, no.
We don't do any region blocking or anything like that.
We do in some countries where we have distribution agreements, but not in Germany. We don't. Anything that works on a 034 downpipe for B9 SQ5. For the time being, we're selling and recommending the Wagner unit, which is comparable to anything that we would do. Milf calendars and Milf t-shirts. When will we see them? God, not soon enough. Nick, write that down.
Another community service right there.
Yeah, I'm all about that. My start-stop setting keeps going back to stock setting. B9.5 2021, S5 Stage 1 ECU, and Stage 2 TCU.
Just email into tuning at. We'll take a look at that. Particular, it might just be something on that one box we need to address differently. But we should be able to get that sorted.
Would supercharger spacers bring a benefit in terms of temperature management on the 3.0 T?
No, that's not the problem. It
could a little bit.
Yeah, it'll help your casting temperature, the thermal mass of the casting itself. But that's just literally the boundary layer between the air and the casting that's going to transition a little bit of heat maybe to your intake air, but it's going to be very minimal in the scheme of things.
If you could pull it off and if it fit, it really wouldn't hurt anything.
But they're already bolting down to a plastic runner set underneath. There's no. It would get you a little more volume, but it's not a metal to metal.
Yeah, and you may notice we stopped doing phenolic spacers once intake manifolds turn into plastic. There's just no.
Somebody's saying the site is accessible from Berlin. Their IP might have some other issues. So yeah, I'm unsure what your issue is.
Would follow up on the ZF8 Stage 2 TCU tuning question. I'm asking more about general shift quality. Am I compromising shift quality for shift speeds?
So all the feedback we've had is, and what we experience ourselves, is the quality is improved. It's a more controlled, firmer shift. It's not like there's nothing harsh about it. It's just a more, I'm not sure how to.
It's still qualitative.
Qualitative.
Some people want to feel like the shift didn't happen. Some people want to feel a bang. There's hot rod guys with like they love it. I mean, some of these like
chirp into second, no matter.
Like literally, it's like they break your neck into every shift, and that's like how they.
That is not what.
So but no, it's an Audi. It's a luxury car. We are providing tunes for your car, which costs $60,000-$70,000 when new. We are not turning this into a hot rod jalopy or anything like that.
Keep in mind too, we have a 30-day money back whatever guarantee on that as well. But I don't think anyone has done taken us up on that due over shift quality.
No, listen, dude, you're not going to have a problem with the shift quality. Flash and enjoy. Yeah, it's gonna be.
We'll make it right no matter what you feel in the end. But and if you feel there's something that could be improved or something is out of whack, we always take input as well. But on that so far, it's been widely accepted as a great combination.
Being a B8 owner, stage 1 for 6 months, I'm scared to go stage 2 because I think it might just fall apart. LOL. I get weird cabin rattles.
That's one thing that's frustrating me about my B8 right now too. Is the cabin rattles are starting to become a thing. It's 100 and whatever thousand miles.
Yeah, I hate it too.
My headliner is. I've got all this stuff. I got to redo the headliner. It's just.
The cabin rattles aren't really from tuning. They're more.
Oh yeah, no. I think he's just talking the age. Like it feels like the house is falling apart, kind of thing.
Sure, but it's just want to clarify. Like, you can add 100 horsepower to your car. It's not going to make it squeak or rattle. What does though is the stiffer your suspension is, the harder you drive it, the more bumps and potholes you hit. All that stuff kind of.
Well, and just a lot of those. Like if you ever take apart the interior to try and address the rattles,
that's terrible too.
It sucks, but there's a lot of. They're basically wear surfaces between interior parts where you've got these little like foam pads here and there, and
strips.
All these little felt strips everywhere, and those will pack out, and you can get movement then that's been engineered out, but is now coming back into place just because your interior is wearing.
Yeah, in fact, dealerships have like full-time squeak and rattle guys.
Squeak and rattle guys with squeak and rattle kits.
It's ridiculous.
One of them
there is a kit.
That was his main gig.
Brand new B9, they have a rear deck lid rattle from like just factory new.
Right. Yeah, and people buy a brand new car and they're like, it's fucking squeaking and rattling. Fix it. So, and they're hard to find sometimes. So, I was just thinking, some auto manufacturers should develop like a squeakless interior, rattleless interior. I mean, that would be revolutionary.
It's just one injection mold, like just foam mold.
Yeah, or materials that when they interface don't make noise.
Yeah, so this weird it's foam rubber thing.
It's bizarre that it's still such a big issue. My Q7 is the same. It's pretty much relatively stock, just lowered on our springs, and I getting more and more squeaks around, which I hate.
It's not TTR like AJ TTRS bad, but it's the
EQ35 bad. What are your guys?
So to address this original question, though, as far as going stage 2 on the B8, it's more a maintenance thing. It has nothing to do with life of the car. Is are your catalysts in good shape? Is your intercooler bricks in good shape? Are your injectors in good shape? So it's all those big. I don't know the history maintenance wise and anything of your car, of course, but just making sure everything's up to snuff and ready for stage 2. Stage 2 is not a huge bump from stage 1. I think stage 2 is a real nice place to be for a street car. It's not stressing really the fuel system or the intercooling system that greatly. I would say having the supporting mods is still key for it. So intake, intercooler, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But stage 2 is a really, really good place to be for those.
What are your guys' thoughts? I just slapped a dry kit single fogger on my Mark 4 GTI 2.8 24 valve so far. It's loving the nitrous jetted to 100 shot. Do you guys carry nitrous on waterfall?
No.
Like we always say, we don't mess with nitrous. It's a very volatile power adder. You know, there are power adders like turbochargers, superchargers, and nitrous is one of them. And nitrous, you know, so there's the triangle of compromises, and you have, you know, cheap, fast. You know, nitrous is cheap, fast,
and then reliable,
and not reliable.
Probably is, yeah, it's reliable, cheap, and fast. Like,
yeah, turbocharging is expensive, slow to do, difficult to do, and very reliable. You know, for example, compared to nitrous. Another power adder is like a stroker. You can add displacement.
Nitrous is very much. It's also they're all homebrew solutions for the most part, and they're all subject to very different operating conditions and very different implementations. So, yeah, providing files for that kind of stuff is a nightmare.
So you notice in our industry, we don't offer nitrous, any kind of nitrous solutions. Either does APR or any of their competitors.
We've had people run them, obviously, on our files. It's the thing, but
so enjoy it while it lasts. But again, you're playing with fire with nitrous, literally. You're playing with explosives. What's the point to having a low torque tune? How's it work? Less boost or less timing?
Yeah. So the low torque tune, I'm assuming this is a Mark 8 oriented question. That was released to basically pair. There's two reasons behind it. Initially, it was also to help stock clutches on some of these cars before we got a real good handle on what the stock clutch could deal with, and everybody's different driving styles. So that was one aspect of it. It's just a little more, a little less peak torque to give the stock clutch a chance. You know, if they were showing to be, you know, like the Mark 7 clutch that came along before, where those did not like a bunch of mid-range torque. That's so far shown to be not an issue in the Mark 8. Lots of guys are running the full beans file on manual transmissions, no issues. The second part of it is there to address the later automatic transmissions that can't be flashed yet. It just matches the torque request to basically what the TCU is capped at anyway. So it gives you a more, you know, refined driving experience than maybe the full torque file where the ECU is requesting more than what the TCU is going to allow it. So you kind of hit this like artificial ceiling. And as far as how it's done, a lot of different ways. These are torque managed ECUs, so all of the requests that the main tuning philosophy is you want the ECU or the engine to produce a certain amount of torque. How it does that is it's got a bunch of knobs it can turn. It can do fuel, timing, and airflow, and it's going to do all of those to most efficiently get to the amount of torque it's trying to make. So yeah, it's going to be a combination of airflow, your amount of boost. It'll be cam phasing adjustments. It'll be valve lift adjustments. It'll be boost targets. It'll be, you know, then all that comes together, and then you've got a timing and fuel strategy on top of that to get to the torque. So it's going to try and make the most amount of torque with the least amount of air always, because that's going to be the most efficient way to do it.
Yeah, and to clarify, to do it with only timing would be terrible.
Yeah, you'd be very inefficient, making a bunch of extra heat and have no benefit from
and possibly damage.
You'll have the exact same dynaplot, but you're going to be wasting a lot of energy doing it.
So yeah, on a turbo motor, if you want to lower torque, it's easy. You just lower boost. You know,
that's going to be the biggest knob it's going to turn. Yeah.
The turbo is what's, you know. Dear God,
I don't know what's going on. You guys can't hear it. I'm sure that
they're setting up some new rack,
but there's racking and stuff going up against this wall, and it sounds like it's about to fall through.
But yeah, in a turbo motor, the horsepower and torque curve is largely dictated by the turbocharger boost level, so which is really nice. Nate, do you think the Merc Racing supercharger will be able to tango with the B9 Stage 3 on the drag
strip? Stage 3 B9. Oof.
That's
that's going to be a tough one. It is going to come down to a lot of like what Stage 3 B9 we're talking about, how prepped are the cars, but in general, the Stage 3 B9s have a lot more torque and all out.
Tangoing is that's a dance where you're like very close to somebody.
I mean, if you start like really like
Is there a type of dance where like one person just runs away from the other person? I think it would be more like that type of dance.
But no, I mean, we're expecting the Merc racing charger to be very fast, relative to B8,
yeah, it's
calibrations that are out there.
It's just tough to compete with B9.
It's a whole other platform.
The amount of torque that can be produced with a turbo motor is substantially more than you can do on a surface.
Yeah, we can turn the knob past what the motor will deal with. And that's not a knob we have on the B8s right now.
Yeah, exactly. The advantage of the supercharger, like we always talk about, is the instantaneous throttle response.
And it's instant and it's fun.
Yeah. So, again, compromises, triangles, you don't get all three. Why was there ever tuning for the 4.0T? Well, there is tuning for it. We just haven't released it, and it's a matter of focus, right? So you see us releasing lots of tuning, but we haven't released 4.0T.
Yes.
So,
and it's at the whim of what just the state of the market for those vehicles as well.
And we follow what people ask for, right? We're not here to like sell people tunes they don't want. So for us, we're always, evaluating what can we do versus what do people really want. And so, all the tunes and updates we've released so far has been instead of 4.0T.
Yep.
And, other applications have taken a backseat too. Sure you're out there listening right now. So, will a lightweight flywheel help with faster shifting alongside achieving higher RPMs with your powder rods for the 3.0T supercharged and cam springs combo?
It will help with faster shifting. RPM limits are not really a thing for a flywheel. Physically they are very much a thing for a flywheel, but not in the ranges we're dealing with here.
A lightweight flywheel doesn't help you achieve higher RPM. So a flywheel, and the weight of the flywheel adds mass and ultimately inertia to the rotation of the crankshaft, which means and the crankshaft starts spinning, the more weight there is on the flywheel, the longer it will want to spin for, because as the motor accelerates and revs up, energy is stored in the flywheel. So when you lift off the throttle, that energy is stored in the flywheel and then released from potential energy to kinetic. Now, a lightweight flywheel won't necessarily help you rev higher, but it will help you rev faster. Because the engine is putting less energy into the flywheel's rotation, it can rotate itself faster. So the benefits and the reason you do a lightweight flywheel is faster acceleration, especially in gears like 1 through 3, maybe in the and then it's a big advantage for like rev matching in manual transmissions when you want to heel toe and rev the engine up to rev match. A motor with essentially no flywheel will have instantaneous free revving. Yeah. And when you hear race cars going boom, boom, or motorcycles or whatever, it's because there's no weight on the crankshaft. So any combustion energy goes right into the crankshaft's rotation, as opposed to loading up this flywheel. What was the application?
I was guessing B8.
Okay, so a B8 manual would benefit from those things.
Yes, those certainly would. And DSG will to an extent. It will be able to rev match more quickly, but they already rev match pretty damn fast. So
yeah, I think it's much less worthwhile to do it on a DSG.
I think there's a drum wall now in manufacturing.
I just hope they can't hear it, but and then the downside, there's always a compromise. Getting the car moving, because there's not any mass being stored in the flywheel, means that you'll have to use more throttle and more clutch slip to get the car moving from a stop, and that can add things like chatter. There will be less load on the gears in the transmission, and so you'll get gear rattle and things like that. Again, worth it if you want to rev faster and rev match faster. A lot of people don't like it on a street car because they lose that smooth drivability that you get with a heavy flywheel, which is Factory flywheels are like 35, 40 pounds. Aftermarket flywheels are usually in the 10 to 15 pound range. So that's the amount of weight you need to drop off the flywheel to achieve the benefits. But then the lighter it is, the worse the drivability gets.
Yeah. And generally, you're going from a dual mass to a single mass solution. You'll get a lot more gear, just transmission noises in general. So there's some comfort issues, not issues, but comfort considerations as well.
Yeah. Well, if you've seen like race cars where they have, the pit crews literally pushing them to get them out, part of that's gearing, but a lot of that is because there's no flywheel.
It's really tough to, yeah.
So they would literally burn out the clutch in the pits. So they have to get the car moving so that they can just kind of like engage the clutch and move. And sometimes you'll hear the clutch engage and it's just like bogs for a second. It's like, and there's no flywheel.
No flywheel, they get a really bitey clutch.
Yeah. Is there anything specific for the SQ5 Sportback, or will normal SQ5 parts work on it?
I believe all the normal stuff. The underpinnings are all like the chassis, the drivetrain, you could say, is the same.
Yeah, it should be the same. And on any SQ5 specific pages, I believe we should be listing Sportback. If we aren't, shoot an email in to clarify. But I've never heard of it.
I don't think we have anything that doesn't cross over.
Underneath, they're the same car. Thoughts on B9 3.8 EA839 APR DTR8868.
Letter number salsa here.
Will 034 provide tunes? We have no plans to provide a tune for an APR turbo. And it's actually not a very attractive turbo.
Not compared to what's on the market.
No. I mean, we already have 710, 810, and 750.
Yep.
The APR turbo would be a downgrade. I understand it's cheap. It's because it's a Chinese.
Maybe you got the Pure 750 coming similarly. So.
Yeah, Pure 750 is about the same price and better in every way. But, APR brought out a cheap China turbo. It's a good deal. I get it, but it's really not worth it considering the other options. I think there will probably be some people that buy it who don't know better, who are just kind of stuck in the APR, ecosystem. But
yep.
Can a 034 flashing kit be used to code in, install a new battery, or do I just buy a separate device?
We do not do any of the vehicle or the other component coding stuff right now, so that's a whole different BMS module you're dealing with there. It's engine and transmission stuff only, and it's going to be, right now we are focusing on just diagnostic work, so fault coding, logging, that kind of thing. As far as adaptions and coding.
Just reading fault codes and stuff.
Yeah, that's outside the scope of the app at this time.
Does it matter whose high-pressure fuel pump you use? Let's say APR with 034 coming from a Mark 6er that was all APR. Don't want to mix and match something that isn't supposed to.
We generally spec the size differential we require as like a percentage over stock. So as long as you're at that percentage or generally greater, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and Nate's right. As long as the other pump provides the right specs and doesn't blow up on you or something. But there are smaller, lower flowing pumps out there, and those aren't necessarily going to be compatible with what we spec.
Yep.
Let's see. I bought a B8 S4 that was flashed with Stage 1 Plus test pipe in 2021. What difference will I feel flashing to the newest revision? Well, you need to flash to the newest revision. Just from a maintenance standpoint, we've made improvements and updates to these files for the performance and safety of the tune. You always want to be running our latest revision. Under no case would we recommend anyone to stay on an old revision.
Right.
I mean, that's backwards in time.
Yeah, there's no reason we're going to, that there would be a benefit to staying on an older version for some reason.
So we strongly recommend you get the account switched over to you, and you get updated.
Yep.
Every one of our customers should be updating as they go. It's really no different than any other computer company that does updates. Yeah,
and that's usually it's all small stuff under the hood, and we'll explain what the update's for, and most of our updates. But it's always good to be, like Gerard said, up and on the latest and greatest, and especially from a support standpoint. If there ever was an issue, we're always going to say, what version are you doing? The latest version? No? Okay, flash the latest version, then go do all the same stuff again and see if it's still an issue, because it may have been addressed already.
190 millimeter supercharger crank pulley doesn't need the heat exchanger unless I go to stage 2+ for the B8.5 question.
No. Heat exchanger should be like mod number like 2 on the car. You need an intake. You need a heat exchanger.
Like we always say, the stock car needs
stock. It needs it. There's no world where we would say you do not need a heat exchanger upgrade on a B8 stock. Like they need it. They're terrible.
The factory intercooler was designed for the business professional who never speeds.
Essentially, yeah, you can get one or two little squirts out of it, and it's starting to taper.
Who's commuting back and forth to the office and going to brunch on Sundays. That's not us. That's not our market. That's not you guys who are watching. You guys are rude and offensive when it comes to driving, and you need an intercooler even on a stock car. Certainly, the 190 pulley is a big pulley. Creates a really fast spinning ratio for the supercharger. I don't think it would be safe to drive a 190 pulley car without the upgrade.
It wouldn't be. It's not that it's unsafe. It wouldn't be. There's no world where we would say that's okay.
I mean, you would be dealing with really, really high temps on a hot day.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the right combination of modifications.
Yeah. It's 12:02. Do we want to?
Oh dang! I didn't even realize we were pushing past here.
See, I'll do one more. Is there a bigger turbo other than the TTE720 in the works for the B9 RS5? Or can you extract more power from the 720s? No, the 720s on the stock motor are maxed.
Yeah.
With rods and pistons and head studs, we could push it a little bit more, but eventually we will come out with a bigger turbo. Right now, the RS5 is so fast and so smooth and so reliable with 720s. It's a 10-second car and in full street trim. So I strongly recommend enjoying the 720s. I don't think there will be a big focus to come out with something bigger in the short term. But yeah, I think in the next year or two, likely there will be something bigger. But it's going to require a motor build. If you want to do that, then maybe start thinking about getting another motor and buying our parts to put in it. But yeah, you're not going to get more power out of the stock block without getting closer and closer to the edge.
Yep.
And whittling down your safety net. All right. Well, I think unfortunately we're out of time.
Yeah, that went by fast.
Yeah, it did. Lots of great questions. Thank you guys as always for joining us. We appreciate it. I know I look forward to it every week. So, all right. Cheers and enjoy the sale and enjoy the holidays.
Yep.
Cheers.